Okay, so first up, I'd actually like to take Chuck from New Jersey.
Yeah,
he wants to talk about the Super Bowl topic that we talked about.
Thanks for waiting, Chuck.
Chuck?
Hello?
Hi,
hey.
Chuck.
Oh, yeah, I was just calling and saying that it's kind of hypocritical that people who are in charge of the Super Bowl commercials will say that it's inappropriate to show scantily clad vegetarians while meanwhile they're half-naked cheerleaders, prancing around,
yeah.
and people getting drunk and belligerent in the stands.
I didn't read the whole story about what the PETA ad was like, so I don't really know what they rejected it for.
I did say scantily
clad, and it was basically just like women in bikinis eating carrots.
Yeah, and beer commercials.
What man watching the Super Bowl wouldn't enjoy scantily clad women eating long, thin fruit and vegetables?
I mean, I think it's just like they don't want the vegetarian agenda on there because, they have chicken wings to sell.
That I wouldn't doubt that. They probably do have a lot of sponsorships from food manufacturer that's devoted to, I would say, meat.
Right. Now, I mean, the Move On ad in 2004 seemed a lot more cut and dried. I mean, they basically said, oh, you cannot put this on because it's advocacy.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want any anti-Bush messages going up during the Super Bowl in an election year.
And it's actually Missouri, not New Jersey, but that doesn't really matter.
It's the screener's fault.
That's right.
They have a hard job and they work very hard, but it says New Jersey right here on my screen.
And I have just another question.
Yeah?
In the Bible, does it say that Jesus was God, or was he a separate entity?
There's a lot of ambiguity. Even in the early church, there was a lot of debate about that. It wasn't cut and dry, and there's verses that are argued about. Some people say that it was just a...
I'll tell you what you'd want to do. Get two priests of different denominations, put them in a room together, and ask them that question, and then hide under a table or something.
Yeah. It's really up in the air. The Orthodox doctrine is that they would interpret certain verses to be that Jesus was self-referencing as God, the one and only God, and there are other people who don't see those verses as meaning that he was trying to call himself God in the way that Orthodox Christianity applies it. So it's really a perspective issue, and you can get people that agree or disagree on these verses, ask a Jehovah's Witness, and then go and ask a Baptist, and you'll get two different answers.
Yeah. I mean, there are a gazillion different answers to what the Trinity is like. It depends on the franchise of Christianity that you happen to be talking to, and all of them think that it's some deep and fascinating question, like,
right.
Oh, well, God is really one part, but he's three parts at the same time. And I've heard very long, boring radio preachers talk for an hour on this topic.
And remember that doctrine was being hammered out when the Bible was being put together. So when you have books that would be more toward Jesus being human and not being God, they're not going to make it into the Bible if the doctrine that is, considered orthodox becomes Jesus is God. Suddenly you're going to select the most appropriate books to support that doctrine, and that's why those are in the Bible and certain other books are not.
Mm-hmm. Because have you seen that Bill Maher Religulous thing?
I did.
Yeah, because there was that guy who... he dressed up as, Jesus at the Jesus reenactment.
At the theme park, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and he said that, the Trinity is just sort of like water, just three different states of matter, but it's all essentially the same molecule.
Yeah. The question, I guess, would become, who was Jesus praying to in the Garden of Gethsemane?
Yeah, because I always thought if Jesus was God, then, forgiving people by, sacrificing himself, it's like a parent raising, an unruly child and then forgiving that unruly child by putting his hand on the stove.
Or putting his brother's hand on the stove.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is
his brother who was making straight A's and never did anything wrong.
Yep.
But that somehow atones for it, yeah.
Well, I guess that's all I got.
Okay, well, thanks for calling, and enjoy.
Good show.
Thank you.
Bye.